All right, now, great pleasure joining me, my friend, Sandra Smith, co-anchor of America Reports.
Pleasure to be here.
On Fox News.
You joined me today. Thanks for that.
I know. You could have just camped out here on this set. Did you see anything different from the inflation op-ed piece today or the attempts by his senior staff to defend it? I mean, what did you hear?
I would like to say yes, because we have long been waiting for some sort of solution to this inflation crisis, particularly from this White House, but they're sort of putting it back on the Fed to provide the solution to this. I had Gene Sperling on today, a man you know. He has worked inside multiple administrations now. I believe this is his third. He worked inside the Clinton White House, the Obama White House, and now the Biden White House. And it should be a pretty clear, easy, simple question, what this White House is doing to bring down prices. Yet what you heard today and what the president wrote about today is, hey, guess what? You're just not noticing how solid this economy is. This White House is telling us, you know what? The economy is actually doing quite well, and that is hard when the average American is seeing record high gas prices, $4.62, the average now, record high. Inflation's at a 40-year high, and it is difficult to have the White House, and we appreciate them coming on, but it's difficult to see they really don't have any answers. They really don't have a plan, Larry. And this is getting mighty scary. You've got empty store shelves. You've seen the latest pictures at a Target in New Jersey. You can't buy baby formula. I mean, that's a scary time. And just wait until this food crisis becomes a bigger and bigger issue. We're already seeing sky-high prices at the grocery store. That could get worse. But how do you tell the American people things are actually going quite well when we are on unprecedented territory when it comes to these prices that the average American is facing? And we're talking about spending more money. I asked Gene Sperling today, is it still on the table to forgive student loan debt?
Yes. What did he say to that? That's a
I don't want to get ahead
point.
of the president on it, he said, which means there's an announcement coming. He did not say so, but he said it's going to leave it to the president to make any sort of announcement if there is one. If that's the case, have they analyzed the effect that will have on inflation? The original question when the White House briefing room was asked, the press secretary, was no. And now today, Brian Deese said at the White House briefing that it will have very little impact on inflation. I can't imagine that's the case.
It's about 4 or 5. I mean, for the federal balance sheet, okay, they're wiping off debt, so that's bad. But that opens the door, right, for more consumer spending. I think the estimates are $400 or $500 billion of additional spending stimulus to an economy that already has too much stimulus, a.k.a. inflation. Did Gene Sperling say anything? Gene Sperling is an old friend of mine, by the way. I'm going to disagree with him strongly, but it's not personal. Did he say anything about the $120 world price of oil today? This is after the Spro announcement, whatever it was a few weeks ago.
Well, if you consider he talked about the solution from this White House is to tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Yes, he acknowledged oil prices and that something needs to be done to increase supply. That was not producing more oil in the United States to bring prices down. $120 a barrel. Any other administration, this would be an emergency.
Right.
This would be crisis mode. You would have economists cranking out projections as to how to bring that price down. When I asked him, okay, fine. If you can't give us an easy answer as to how you're going to tackle this, give us a projection. Where do you think this White House, who says that it is obsessed with bringing prices down, where do you think gas prices could be by end of year?
Wow.
He said, I'm not in the business of making projections. I don't know, Larry, last I looked, economists make projections.
Actually, that is precisely the business he's in as an economic advisor. But let's not go there. Did you ask him about increasing oil and gas? And let's say increasing oil and gas and refined products and gasoline. Why? I looked through the op-ed today. I just didn't see any reference to it.
He said this is a global problem and that we're in the same boat as the rest of the world. And I said this is America. We find solutions to problems like this. We have resources that are untapped right now. We can bring those prices down. I also challenged him, and again, appreciate him coming on. I hope the White House sends more people our way. I also challenged him on the fact that his own colleagues, Larry Summers, please come on as well. We've invited him. Steve Ratner, they very early on, they were ahead of the Federal Reserve on raising the flag on inflation. You've talked about this more than we should have to.
What did Gene say to that? They're pals.
He said he acknowledged Larry Summers has talked about it and that is why the Fed is now deployed with trying to find a solution and a landing to this.
Here's the point. This is a very important. Now, we are going to have Art Laffer on later in the show. But this meeting between Jay Powell and President Biden, and there'll be a few other senior staff people. I've been in such meetings. Do you think that the president and the White House will give Powell carte blanche to raise rates, let's say above the inflation rate, which is now about 7%. So you have to have, the Fed funds rate would go to 8 or 9% and pull money supply out of the economy. In other words, in this piece, he said, we're going to let the Fed be independent. Do you think so? Do you really think so? Or do you think it's a dangerous sign?
I think you're skeptical. I think you're skeptical.
I'm extremely skeptical.
Yeah.
I've seen too many of these, but I just wondered, what do you think you heard from these guys today?
I'm skeptical that the Federal Reserve can actually tackle this effectively and efficiently. Why would we believe that they can if they've brought us to this point so far? You have to look at how early on guys like Larry Summers were calling out the Federal Reserve for not acknowledging that this inflation was not transitory. They were so slow to it, Larry. So you've got to have a lot of confidence in the Federal Reserve that got this so wrong that now they can right this ship.
Right.
I don't think you have it.
That they might even know what they're doing.
Look,
that's unfair, but I'm not really being unfair because of their prior record.
Look, that's why we're asking the questions. I actually asked Gene Sperling today, too. I said, who's advising the president? If you're not making projections, who is? Because that's the job of the economists that are advising the president. So, I don't know. You tell me, maybe you have a better look inside this White House than anybody else, but I think people have serious questions over who is leading this president through this, who's advising him. If it's Brian Deese and others, I mean, he's said, and I'm just being fair here, these are things these people have said on the record, that the goal is zero use of fossil fuels.
Yep.
So how can you have confidence?
That's one of my biggest concerns.
Yes.
That is a prescription for a permanent recession. That whole fossil-free economy.
This is the guy who's in charge of increasing energy production to bring prices down?
You had a great time today.
You
just had them all.
Well, look, I've been asking for the White House for a long time.
Yeah.
We need some transparency. People need to know what they're doing. Ron Klain, chief of staff to President Biden, he said very early on in this inflation crisis that this was a high-class problem. I should be clear, he retweeted a tweet from Jason Furman who said that, but gave it 2 thumbs up and said this. Now they're in a position of saying that this is affecting hardworking Americans and they have to do something about it. I hope they do. It's painful if you're a hardworking American to go fill up your gas tank and put food on your table.
My last question is the toughest one of all. Do you feel more at home on this set, which is your set, as well as my set?
So Larry's referencing...
Will you come and visit us more?
I'm happy to be here. No, I'm very happy. I love these discussions with you. And
well done.
I just, where's Larry? Why can't we have Larry Kudlow in that White House fixing these problems,
Yeah, we did that once upon a time. Anyway, thank you, Sandra Smith.
Thanks for having me.
You can catch Sandra on American Reports weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox News. Thanks a million.
Thank you.